What's good, fam? It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper. This is my story. Let's go.
Okay, so everybody already know where you from.
Yeah.
But I want to actually ask you, like, what part are you from? Like in New Orleans.
I'm out Mid-City, man. Grew up on Bolden and Hennessy, old school, behind Crystal Hot Sauce, Crossman Elementary. Great, just grew up around there. That's where I learned a lot of the game from. That's where that hustle got installed in me at, man, for sure.
And so, how it was for you, like far as like schooling, the area.
Yeah.
Because everyone looks at New Orleans and just think it's all bad.
Yeah,
but they don't know, like some people actually grew up,
Yeah.
they were a little privileged.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't that. I wasn't that. I think early on, so my mama was living in the 8th Ward around St. Roch, and that's I first saw my mama get shot. So my mama got shot when I was like 9, right around St. Roch Park. And then from there, we moved around. Then she got shot again. Well, the second time she got shot, we moved. And then I moved with my auntie. My mom's went to prison, and then my grandmother passed away. So for a while, I was kind of homeless from 13 to 16. But coming up, before that, it was kind of just typical New Orleans shit, you know what I'm saying? Moved from one area to another, just surrounded by guns, drug violence. I saw my mama, she was hustling. So I kind of understood that game early, got introduced to it early. And she was just doing what she had to do, you know what I'm saying? She was fighting her demons, doing what she had to do. But unfortunately, that put me in a tough situation. Not intentionally, but we all know what the byproduct of that was. So my mom went to prison. I moved with my auntie. She was on drugs, but that was kind of the norm. Like, it wasn't nothing out of pocket, you know what I'm saying? You with a group of people, shit, your people might be on drugs, they might be on drugs, somebody else an alcoholic, so it wasn't really no big deal, but that was kind of my upbringing. It ain't no out of whack New Orleans story. I mean, you got to think about it. The city is surrounded with poverty. Everybody badly making. Everybody one paycheck away from being in a bad situation. You know what I'm saying?
But I also, every time I try to interview someone, who actually dealt with seeing someone get shot or anything like that. Like, we don't actually explain or kind of express our trauma.
Yeah.
Like seeing that, because like I tell people, if the first person I saw get shot, was my father.
Yeah.
And my mama did it. Like, that causes trauma.
Yeah.
So do you think any trauma actually?
Hell yeah, I think I still deal with that trauma. You'll never, and you got to realize I saw it twice. So I saw my mama get shot the first time. I didn't see her get shot the second time, but she got shot the second time. And then probably like 2 years later, a cousin of mine, his mama shot him in the chest, literally. They was living around Bradley, so Bradley School in the 8th Ward. And then maybe a few years later, my mama had another situation with drugs that put her in a bad situation. So it was kind of like firsthand seeing it. But then it kind of introduced me to the violence that really came with living in our city. But we found a way to navigate that, and we normalized things that we shouldn't have. But that trauma, it made me understand violence. It made me accept violence. And which is why I wound up going to prison for attempted murder. When I was 16, I shot somebody 6 times. And I know for a fact a byproduct of that was seeing what happened with my moms, and then like the OGs who I grew up with, they normalized violence, murder, drugs. So that shouldn't be normal for a kid. And so that trauma, you start to become numb to violence, and you accept violence, you normalize it, and you don't have no feelings behind it. And that's not really good, because for a long time in my life, I struggled with being emotionally available in a lot of situations. So you definitely reap the trauma from that, and that residue rides with you for a long time.
Gotcha. And also, like, every time I travel the world, I always tell people New Orleans is a very unique place.
Yeah.
Because we are so small that we know if the killer and the victim,
Yeah.
and we don't say nothing.
Yeah. I think the thing about that, so I always tell people that about New Orleans, like, it's a beautiful place, bro. Like, it's one of the most culturally rich places on the planet, especially in the United States. It's a little city with a big city name. But it is so small to where you can know the victim and the shooter, but what are you supposed to say? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you supposed to say? How are you supposed to feel? I think because you also know that you aren't too far away from you being either victim or the perpetrator. You ain't too far away from that, being in that position your damn self. So I think even that's a part of the traumatic experience of coming up in New Orleans. But I also know that New Orleans, we got this ingredient in us that a lot of people don't have. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what make everybody from New Orleans like special. You know what I'm saying? We got this spirit, we got this determination that every city ain't equipped with. You know what I'm saying? We could tell each other from a mile away.
Okay, so, being a teenager going into the streets.
Yeah.
Like, did you have any goals set? Like, man, I'm about to hustle if I can get me a trucking business, or anything like that. Like,
my only goal really was survival. I think that because I saw my mama hustling, I was able to maneuver through the streets kind of different. I knew some of the steps already to the game, but you can't skip no steps in the game. But then I was young, so I realized I'm 13, 14, 15, 16. My goals was just to hustle. I ain't really value my own life. I don't think we taught how to value ourselves. I don't think we taught how to value life. I don't think we taught how to value each other. And so because of that, you don't really set big goals. Because deep down in you, part of that trauma that we come from, it kind of dilutes your vision on life. It kind of makes you think that death, prison is so close, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can smell it. Because it's a good chance that you know somebody that got killed at a young age. It's a good chance you know somebody that done shot somebody. It's a good chance you know somebody that done been in prison. So when you normalize that, you don't put too much value, or in the investing world, intrinsic value on your life. You gotta remember, I went to prison at 16, I come home at 26. And even at that age, I was expecting myself to go back to prison again. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be lying if I had goals like I want to play football. My goal was, how do I get to the next pack? How do I reinvest this money into some more work? And how do I stay alive?
So all your life you knew I was going to get some money.
I ain't even gonna lie to you. I don't even know if it was I'm gonna get some money, because if I'm being honest with you, I never met a successful hustler. I never met a hustler who I know like, they live to see it. Like, I remember coming up, man, there was three names that I remember that was heavy in the city. One was Richard Pena, one was Show Love Like Bub, and the other one was Cat out Gertown. And that was the best vision I had of successful hustlers. You know what I'm saying? And none of them made it out, you know what I'm saying? But in the moment, shit, that's what you wanted. You wanted to either, be able to, remember, I'm from our mid-city, so it was going to the Carrollton Shopping Center. That was being fresh to me, you know what I'm saying? And being able to go to the dagger shop or going to $1 million spot, sneaking in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my era. I was young enough, right, to catch whispers, you know what I'm saying, for it went. So to me, hustling was being able to put the right clothes on and go there. That was my version of making it. I ain't had too many expectations outside of that. I'd be lying if I was like, I'm gonna get some money, I'm gonna ball out. I'd be lying if I said that. So not really getting money, but just being hood famous. That was kind of the goal for me. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Gotcha. So I'm like 16, going to prison.
Yeah.
I want you to like really go in on that, because they got like still to this day 16-year-olds are going to prison and like meeting real adults in there.
Yeah, that was I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. That was a scary ass experience. I remember first going to South White Street, going to CYC, That's where they put me at first. And I thought I was going, in my mind, I thought I was going to go to like Tallulah or, I forgot what it's called upstate when you young. LTI?
Yeah.
LTI, I think that's it. But then they came and got me and it was like, nah, you going across the street. And I remember my heart dropping. You know, and I had to play hard, but I was scared as shit. Cause now you talking about me going to the old parish. And even as a young dude in the street, you still know, like, you think 98, 99, like the old parish was worse than Angola. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, shit, I bet. You know what I'm saying? And so I remember my whole mindset switched. And I remember being nervous, bruh. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I remember being nervous but trying to play hard. And I remember when I got across the street, bruh, I remember at the time the dude from CYC name was Keedy Bo. And Keedy Bo said, Lil One, you playing a big boy game now. Go be a man. And man, that shit meant so much to me. You know, just cause all the people I call OGs, I wasn't getting no letters from them niggas that, you know, none of my homies wasn't writing me no more. So, you know, Keedy Bo knew I was solid in CYC. And so I remember going across the street, bro, and I remember seeing this sign say you are now entering a real jail, bro, and that shit scared the piss out of me, dog. And I remember hearing that goddamn cell crank back, boom, and I remember hearing them doors slam, boom, boom, and I remember the smell in that bitch was so fucking, like it was unique, bro, and I was like, damn. And I remember sitting in the holding cell, and I just remember hearing a whole bunch of noise. And bro, I ain't gonna lie, you know, at the time, I'm probably like 5'7", I'm like 130, 40 pounds. I remember I went on the tier A1, bro, and that shit was crazy. I probably was in there like 3 days, bro, before I had my first fight. And I think at first fight in that bitch, let me know, oh, it's game time. You know what I'm saying? It kind of just changed my mindset. I remember having a fight with my cellie about cleaning the cell up. Cause it was a 4-man cell and everybody got to take a day to clean the cell up. His name J-Rock. His name was J-Rock. And J-Rock was like built like a damn G.I. Joe doll, bruh. And I remember him just being like, say, Lil One, like, you gotta clean the cell up today. And I was like, man, I ain't cleaning no damn cell up, man. Like, and I just had a complex about that shit. And he was like, bro, you gonna either clean the cell up or you gonna get the fuck up out of here. And I remember just being like, I ain't cleaning the cell up and I ain't getting out the cell. And J-Rock was just like, man, you got me fucked up, dog. He was like, man, put your shoes on, bro. And man, me and J-Rock fought for like 30 minutes. And he bust my ass, I ain't even gonna lie. But I was a juvenile fighting a grown man. And I remember him looking at me, he was like, you got some heart. That shit gonna get you a long way in here. And he ain't had to tell me that shit, but I think him just telling me that shit breathed so much confidence in me. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't scared to get an ass whooping, and in my mind, I'ma just stand on business. I'ma just stand on my integrity. And I remember telling myself, like, shit, I ain't gonna let no nigga play with me in this bitch. You gotta kill me in this bitch. And that set the tone for me, but I was scared as shit, man, in that bitch. Until after that fight, it kind of broke me in. So that was a game changer for me, man.
So, you know, fast forward, you know.
Yeah.
It was your famous, story, you know, you've been telling, you know, how you was in jail. And you had one, cellmate,
yep.
or like someone in the jail with you.
Yep.
And he turned you up. He put you on a whole different game.
Yep. I left A1. I had gotten a fight with some homies, and all of us went to C1, which was the hole. And I remember going into this cell, and it was a 4-man cell, but it's only me and this white. I go in the cell and it's this white dude. And he had on a red and white band. You know, the old parish, the red band mean attempt murder, armed robbery, a violent offense. He had a red and white band on, so that means he going to the feds. And it's crazy because when you're in prison, you know that red and white band kind of like have like seniority. You know what I'm saying? Like you respect a nigga with a red and white band because you know he on the fed charge. And I remember going into the cell and him just being like, man, y'all playing the wrong game, bro. And I remember me asking myself, like, telling him, like, nigga, you playing, you ain't here with me. What game you playing? And I don't know. And he just told me some shit that was just different. He was just like, bro, like, look at all y'all in here. He was like, how old are you, bro? And at the time, I had just made 17. And he was like, you got 10 years. And like, how much time you got? And I was like, I got 10 years. He's like, you got 10 years. You ever seen $1 million before? I was like, hell no, you ain't either. And I remember him showing me his paperwork, bro. $2.8 million, paid $800,000 restitution, and paid $2 million. And he's able to keep $2 million. And that shit blew my brain. And I was like, what the hell you do? He was in there for embezzlement. And then he told me, he was like, bro, listen, this shit'll eat you alive. You'll never live your life unless you start playing a different game. And he was like, you gotta learn how to stop trading time for money. You gotta learn how to make your money work for you. And you gotta learn how to give value to people. And I remember never hearing that shit. And so he told me wealthy people do 3 things in life, and it ain't selling crack, my nigga. And he was like, you invest in stocks, you build a business, and then you invest in real estate. You do them 3 things there, you will never go broke, and you will never see prison again. And so over the next couple, I think we stayed in the cell like 60 days together. He wound up going to the feds. I stayed in the cell. I think I went to C3, came back to the hole, and then I went upstate. And when I got upstate, bro, I started just being intrigued by that shit. I started reading a couple books on it. And then I remember one day watching CNBC. And when you're in prison, niggas be watching The Young and the Restless, you heard me? And niggas want to watch The Young and the Restless. I remember getting in the fight upstate because I wanted to watch CNBC. And then boys wanted to watch The Young and the Restless. And another white dude put me on. He used to get the USA Today paper. And he was like, you know, you running them numbers, but you don't never get the business part of the paper. I was like, what the hell I'm going to do with that shit? And he was like, the same shit you fighting for on the TV, you can get it right here in this paper. And so he used to sell me his paper for the USA Today. I should just read the business part, and that turned me up. For the rest of my bed, you know, I was studying that shit, and that shit just started making sense to me once I applied it to the streets. I was like, well, this shit the same damn thing. This shit ain't no different, you hear me? So that's kind of how that went, man, and I ain't gonna lie, that seed kind of changed my life, man. That shit kind of changed my life.
So how much money did you actually come home with?
No, I ain't came home with shit. I came home.
I always wanted to ask that because I'm like, you know, everyone see you now. And
yeah.
They probably think you made the money in jail too.
Nah. So I came home I went to West Baton Rouge halfway house. They gave me a job at the Golden Corral. Matter of fact, my cousin that's in here right now. I came home with $3,500. I took $2,500 and bought a Grand Prix GTP. And that was all my shit. And crazy part was, like, I think 30 days after I had that bitch, the rim came off that bitch on the interstate. You hear me? Me and Cuz, we took the car and went to the nigga who sold me the car and wanted to fight that boy. I knew you sold me a lemon. That boy ain't want to come off that property. You hear me? I was like, Cuz, I got to get him off the property. And shit, that was my money, man. So I came home with $3,500. I ain't come home with no money, man. I came home and I went to college for about 6 weeks in Baton Rouge, took a fast track welding class. Shit, I moved home. I came home and moved in the 7 Wall on Abundant Street. And shit, we got it back popping, you know what I'm saying? Shit, we got it back popping. We know how to do best, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't came home with nothing, bro. Ain't nobody give me nothing, man. So, everything here come out the mud, bro.
Hey, so I'm like, what year that you took this all the way serious?
Probably 2014. So I came home in 2007, but again, you just still in the trenches, you still figuring it out. And then I caught another charge in 2009. I moved back to Mid City, so I was dealing with this female, and she was living in the 7 Wall. And I remember, long story short, I thought some dude was about to try to jack me. And so I was about to get in something. We was about to turn that up. And one of my homies came to me, my dog, Fatty, who I was locked up with. And he was like, dog, check this out. Because he had come home from doing 20 on a manslaughter. And he was like, look, if you want to slide, we can slide. But don't let no nigga trick you out your spot. Because what happened was a dude, so I was hustling, and a dude in that area told me another dude was trying to rob me. on some, like on some cross, like a cross, like, you know what I'm saying? And cause we was just getting to it. And my dog told me, he was like, don't let a nigga make you do their dirty work. And I was like, what? And he was like, don't let a nigga make you do their dirty work. Cause you gonna crash out, I'ma crash with you, and I ain't gonna still be here. And he done killed 2 birds in 1 stone. And man, that was the most brilliant shit ever told, you feel me? And it kept me from crashing out. So it's crazy, 2 things happened, because I didn't crash out, but I was getting bread, and the chick I was dealing with at the time, I don't wanna say this in a bad way. Because I was getting money, I wasn't dependent on her. I had bought my first Escalade truck, and at the time, I used to get her Honda Accord and move around the city. And I'm gonna just say that she didn't have control over me no more. I'm gonna say that. And that kind of, she was like, nigga, you inside, you moving around like that. And she still had a little one, and she didn't want that shit around the crib. So I moved back to Mid City. Shit, that put me back in the lion's mouth, you feel? I was back there I was back where I started when I went to prison. So moved to Mid City, my dough got kicked in. I was on it up 2009, my dough got kicked in. I got found out guilty in 2014. Shout out to John Fuller, that's my dog. And after we got found guilty, I really took this shit serious. I was like, all right, nigga, like, I kind of didn't want to go back in the streets no more. I had done got found out guilty. I had done, me and a close friend of mine out the Magnolia, we had hit a lick, but the lick turned sour. He wound up passing away. And, you kind of look at your life. I think in the streets, you got to be willing to still move with instinct. And the minute your instinct start making you think about repercussions, it's time for you to get out of the street. That's my personal opinion. I started thinking about the repercussions. Like, all right, man, we done been in a couple, shootouts, and we done survived that. We done had a couple near misses. We done got found out guilty, and then you hit this last lick, and you and your homie almost get killed. So I ain't want to roll the dice no more. I started thinking about the consequences. So I was like, all right, yo, let's bow gracefully. I ain't bowed with a lot of money. The welding classes came in important. So we took the ironwork shit serious. Started welding, started doing ironwork, taking that serious. So 2014, I started investing 70% of my money into the market. And it's been history ever since then, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
So, for someone watching today, someone like me,
yeah,
who probably don't have that much money to invest in, won't think about starting with $100. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, what's your advice to me?
More than anything, start small. Like, when I say this shit remind me of the streets, it really do. I remember being 12 years old, bro, scoring 2-for-1s. In case somebody don't know what that is. You know what I'm saying?
Age, huh?
Yeah, you feel me? I remember being 12 years old, bro, scoring 2-for-1s. And saving my money from 2-for-1s to getting me a A-ball. You know what I'm saying? And going from an A-ball, getting that a couple of times to give me a quarter, from a couple of times from a quarter to give me a zip, you know what I'm saying? And just working my way up the ladder, having setbacks, but still seeing a bigger picture. I think this the same way. I still got the hustler's mentality with this. Like, you start with 100, but the end result is to get you a brick. You know what I'm saying? And go from brick to being a plug. And I look at this shit the same way. You start with $100, you get your first stop. But don't let that be where you stop at. So find something that you can research. My thing would be, before you get in the game, learn the game. It's like, you ain't gonna go hustle on nobody's block without knowing who the hustlers is. You ain't gonna know you gotta figure out who the hustlers is, who the jackers is, who set up people, who the females that set niggas up. You gonna figure out who the players on the game is, who the robbers, who the stick up. You gotta figure all that out before you just jump off the porch. What's booming on this set? Who the competitor? You gotta figure all that out before you just jump on somebody's block and start hustling. I think this the same way. I treat this shit the same way. I would tell everybody that, like, learn the game before you even put any money into it. Find somebody that can teach you this shit in a language that you can understand, preferably me. You know what I'm saying? But we do have a unique time where we watching the world pivot, and I 100% think all of us should be a part of this. I feel like anybody that's hustling right now, you selling yourself short. We playing the game that they want us to play instead of playing the game that they playing. We feel like we not able to play this game and win this game when really this game don't care who play it. And we waste money, and I'm not saying it because I play this game. I don't have a problem with a young dude, getting his shine on, buying shit, living, enjoying life. But also, you ain't gonna make no money in the street like you gonna make doing this. I done had $100,000 days, $300,000 days. Today I lost $100,000. But I'm smiling at that shit, cause just like the street, you make the most money in a drought. Everybody know that if you a real hustler. When it's a drought season, it's game time. You know what I'm saying? So the rules don't change. It's just the product changed, the environment changed, but my mindset ain't changed on how I play this shit, how I live this shit.
Gotcha. So, I'm like, before we leave, tell everybody what's Trapping Tuesdays.
So, I think that one of the things that discourage us to invest in the stock market is we don't understand the language. So most people that teach this game, they don't look like us. And if they do look like us, we feel like we can't relate to them because they got on a suit, they got on a tie. We feel like they've been to college. And immediately, if you somebody that's from the streets or you somebody that's working a 9 to 5 or struggling, you feel like this game ain't for you. So Trapping Tuesdays was a show I created that come on every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern time on YouTube, where I break the game down of investing and what's going on in the market in the language that we can all understand. I think the biggest gap between us and really making money in this game is the language. Purposely, they don't teach this game to us in a way that we can understand. And so because they don't do that, we settle for, and I don't mean this in a bad way, we settle for sports, we settle for rap, we even settle for the streets because we feel like that's the only way out. But if you think about it, who own the teams? Who own the shit that we buy? Right? And so Trapping Tuesdays is the bridge to us from being broke, for us being in poverty, from us being working class, to us being working poor, to transitioning into building wealth. And we build that one share at a time, one investment at a time. And that's what Trapping Tuesdays is. It's the place where you come at each and every Tuesday to learn how to play the game, how to navigate the game, but most importantly, how to get money in the game.
Gotcha. Well, I know personally now I'm not selling because I seen you give everybody in the club a bottle. And including Rick Ross and Jeezy. You had to show your ass.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I think that's when I come home. I do that to show love to the city, but I also do it to let them see what's possible. I think this is the first time so I'm 41 years old. This is the first time that our city isn't being represented by like some type of killer, some type of dope dealer, some type of rapper or something like that. Nothing against that, but my whole life, the city has always been represented. That's always been the mascot for the city. And so now we in this unique time where we got some dope ass entrepreneurs that's doing some dope shit, like yourself, Larry, Super, Judy, Black, B, Brooke, you know what I'm saying? And some other people that I don't know, but those people I know for sure y'all on the front street. And I think it's a good look for the city. And I think it gives us a breath of fresh air. But I also know that the streets need representation. And so for me, I remember coming to the A.
I already knew you was going there with it.
and watching niggas just buy the whole club bottles. And I remember being like, damn, that's some gangster shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, like what that shit cost? You know what I'm saying? Like, and so when I come home, I want the city to be like, I know somebody, some hustler, some street dude see that shit and be like, damn, that's some motivational shit right there. My nigga just bought the whole club bottles and he bought Jeezy and Ross bottles. That's some gangster shit right there. And I don't know Jeezy, but I know Ross personally. That's my dog. And every time he see me, he just be on some, you a real nigga trap. And so for me, I just want to always inspire the streets because that's what I come from. That's my DNA. And I want them to see me and be like, damn, if dude come from it, I know I could come from it. I don't want street dudes to settle on being street niggas. I don't want them to settle at, I'm gonna get killed, I'm gonna go to jail, this is my life. I don't want niggas to settle doing that. So when you see me, I'm gonna always speak the language, but I'm gonna always be motivational. At least that's my goal here, man.
Gotcha.
For sure.
So tell them, I'm like, what's next for you?
Right now, the goal is to build out this $100 million company, man. We putting a media company together. We've been building that. Our show Trapping Tuesdays is one of the shows. From there, we got a couple other shows we're gonna do. Shout out to my dog Chad from the 85 South. Him, DC Youngfly, Carlos Miller, they inspire me because I see what they building. And I think it's important that you get around people like that and then you add value to those relationships. Like I can call Chad right now and he'll be like, my nigga. He called me yesterday, he was like, my nigga, you got me thinking I really know what the hell I'm doing with this stock market shit. Hey, I gotta get you some money. You can't keep inviting me to your table and I ain't getting you no money. So he in position now to try to help me get at least $50,000, $60,000 a month from just putting ads on my show. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like going hustle in somebody else's hood. You can't do that unless you get blessed. Else you gonna meet a whole bunch of opposition. And so for me, it's learning how to navigate this media game because a lot of people not gonna just give you game. If you think about it, you don't hear nobody talking about how to build a media empire. And the people that do, they ain't giving you the game on how to do it. There's nothing against Tyler Perry or nothing like that, but I ain't never seen them, Steve Harvey, I ain't never seen them give the game on how to build that shit. They'll give you some motivation, but at some point in the game, I don't need the motivation. I need the game, dog. I'm motivated enough, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? I don't need the quotes on motivation. Nigga, I come from being homeless for real. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in New Orleans for real. So to have somebody like Chad who really reach out, that's the goal for me. And if you think about it, media ain't never went nowhere. It's always been the thing that told a story. How we get a lot of our information from media. Media tells us what the hell going on. So for me, I know I got a voice. I know people listen to me. And so it's building out this, and that's where we at. We in my studio. I built this shit from the ground up. I came in this bitch for about 4 months and sat in the dark. You know what I'm saying? Now when you look at it, the carpet that's in here, the studio, the wall, the lights, I put all that in here. But I knew that was the beginning. I'm leasing this space. The next space I'm gonna go buy, about 30,000, 40,000 square feet. So that's it, bro. I ain't going nowhere. I'm here. Between the market and building this media company out, building that apparel brand out, shit, we here, baby. Man,
if you motivated me, and guess what? Hey, but I appreciate you for blessing me while I'm in your, while I'm.
Yeah, this ain't my city.
Yeah, I know this ain't your city. This
ain't my city.
Yeah, everybody say your city.
Yeah, I'm out here. This ain't my city, yeah.
You just trapping somewhere else right now.
I gotta just set up another trap house, bro. That's all.
Gotcha.
For sure, man.
Last but not least, tell the world. I'm like, what can he find you at?
Yeah, man. Instagram is wall_street_trapper. YouTube, Wall Street Trapper for sure. If you're trying to learn, just about the market, about investing, entrepreneurship. I show the wins and the losses of this game, the ups and the downs. We got a lot of people that only talk about wins, bro. And that's just, I think that's, giving people a false narrative. As long as we have more wins than losses, but this game is made up of winners, losers, and learners. And you decide what category you fall in. And so for me, I'm a combination of all three. I win, I lose, and I learn. So, man, rock with your boy. And whatever I can do to help you and the people, man, listen, I answer my DMs personally. So reach out, man. It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper, man. We trapping for sure.